Oh, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the fourth match of the game. Majestics versus the Provo Steelers, and it looks like right as we went live, Majestics broke free and scored a try. It looks like the conversion was good for the Majestics, getting off to a very quick start. The Majestics up 7-0. All right, Provo to kickoff. All right, Majestics to receive here. Majestics let the ball bounce there. Was recovered well. Just going through the forwards. Very strong running here by the Majestics. Looking at their numbers, see if they have some opportunities to utilize those on outside. Looks like there's a 3v1 on the outside, and they see that. Trying to utilize that, but it looks like the defense from the Steelers are getting in their face very, very quickly. Looks like Majestics were called for an infraction there, so it looks like the Steelers are going to go and opt to kick for touch there, and they do find touch, so it's going to be a Steelers line out. It's going to be a throw-in for the Steelers. Okay, Steelers do receive that. And it looks like there's going to be a little bit of a knock on there by maybe. Nope, looks like the referee calls the play on. Looks like Majestics were called for not releasing, so it's going to be a Steelers penalty. Looks like Steelers are opting to find touch, and they do. Starting, and so it's going to be another line out for the Steelers. Steelers choosing to be a little bit more strategic here. The penalties that the Majestics are giving them, they're just choosing to move down the field using those kick for touches and those lineouts. So it's been working for them so far, obviously, and so we'll see what they do here with the lineout so close to the the Majestics try zone. The Steelers trying something fancy with their lineouts, but it looks like something just wasn't quite right. The referee didn't exactly like what he saw. So he's going to call for a 5-meter scrum here for the Majestics. Looks like there was some illegal formation or illegal movements there with from the Steelers with that line out. Very creative play, but unfortunately, if it wasn't done correctly, which it wasn't there, they're going to be penalized for that, and so it's going to be a scrum for Majestics. Majestics choose to clear it out with a nice kick. Steelers there to recover. Assessing the field, trying to find what to do next. She chooses to kick. There's a nice little rolling kick there. I don't think they were exactly ready to expecting that. Majestics securing the ruck there. Going through the line. Strong running by one of their forwards here. Then Majestics, seeing that they have a little bit of space out wide, was about to make a nice little pass there and have a nice break, but unfortunately there was a knock on there. So the referee's going to stop play there, and it's going to be a scrum for the Steelers. The referee doesn't love what he's seeing on this scrum, so he's going to go and have him reset the scrum. I believe it was a little bit between the two scrum halves there. You could see them getting into each other's personal space. But the ref put a stop to that really quick. So Steelers with the put in. Scrum rotating. The scrum wheeled. So he's going to reset that scrum here. The referee is going to give him some instruction to do exactly what he would like so that they can, mitigate any issues like wheeling the scrum, collapsing the scrum, anything like that could be dangerous for these girls here. Steelers with the put in. Going to go straight out. So we're going to have another scrum here. So when the ball comes out and goes into that channel, the number 2 on both of those teams are called the hooks or the hookers. They're supposed to hook that ball when it goes into that channel, and sometimes another stray foot gets into the way, and the ball will shoot back out into the channel, and so that's where it went straight out. And so they're going to reset this scrum. It's going to be a short arm penalty. It looks like the Steelers. They had enough, had plenty of chances to try to, get their scrum right, but it looks like the referee had enough and said, you know what, we're just going to give them a free, Majestics a free kick, and that's exactly what he's doing here. So it is a short arm penalty, so normally on a regular penalty, it's going to be a line out for them, but because it was a short arm penalty, it's going to be a line out for the Steelers. Very common mistake sometimes with those kinds of penalties, but it is early enough in the game that it's not that big of a deal, but something that they can learn from straight away. You can hear the refs, or even the coaches on the other side calling, it's our ball because it was a penalty, but it's a short arm penalty, and the ref has it right there. The Steelers get that. Steelers get the ball. The Steelers running through, being very strong with their attack right now. It looks like they have penalty advantage. Looks like there's going to be a penalty advantage called on the Majestics, so it's going to be a penalty for the Steelers. Looks like it was a high tackle on committed by the Majestics. Steelers just going through the phases right now, making sure they keep possession of the ball. But right when I say that, they lose possession of the ball. Majestics pick it up. The ball is on the ground, so mad scramble for it, but it looks like Majestics were able to clear it out, and then they do clear out with a kick. But it looks like the ref's calling for a knock-on, so it's going to be a scrum for the Steelers. Just scrum for Steelers here. See, you can see the referee, he wants everyone to be at their best, and so he's giving them instructions on how to really make sure the scrum can be as sturdy, as stable as possible, so that they can, avoid another one of those short arm penalties. So that's why he's giving them a little bit of extra, instruction here. That's a great thing about rugby is it's a constantly, a teaching opportunity for these referees, and the referees are really respected for it. Looks like the Steelers do win that scrum, and the eight man picks it and goes, but is stopped by the Majestics. The Steelers swing it out, trying to get a little bit of space, but the Majestics are there to stop it very quickly, but very strong running by this runner from the Steelers. It looks like it's going to be Majestics are going to be called for a high tackle. Steelers are opting to do a little quick tap and giving it to one of their strong runners, who just keeps her feet churning. Just securing the ruck. Majestics testing the integrity of it. But then the Steelers just falling forward, getting those extra meters here, doing a great job keeping possession, but also having go-forward ball. The Steelers get held up, and they're trying to push it in, but then is stolen by the Majestics. They're sprinting down the sideline with a bunch of extra space there. See if she can find the other. She makes one defender miss, has that support, but unfortunately doesn't see it there. But her support does come in the form of a ruck, but it looks like there was an injury on the field. Yep, unfortunately, there is another injury on the field. When it is that close to the play there, they are going to stop that immediately so that they don't get stepped on, trampled over, or ruin any of the play there. And as always, when there is an injury, it's never something that is good, right? But in rugby, we always try to mitigate as many injuries as we can through the form of teaching better tackling techniques than what we're usually taught within other sports, or making sure that we keep our head in a correct position to not have any head injuries, anything like that. So but things like this do happen, and we hope that it isn't too serious, and then that she can have a quick recovery.
Sorry, you're correct. Sorry, you're correct. Scrum down.
All right. After checking in on the injured player, everything was taken care of, and she was able to come off the field. If not, still in, but it looks like she is okay. So play has resumed. I don't think any subs have been made either, but it looks like it's going to be Majestics put in here. And Steelers putting in a little pressure on that scrum half, doing a nice little backline play with a 13 cut. And then recycling out as there's a 2v1, trying to find a little bit of space, and she does. Extra space, getting one extra pass there. But unfortunately, great recovery defense by the Steelers. She's fighting over in that ruck. Looks like the Steelers won that ball. And the Majestics trying to counter ruck. Steelers trying to go just with, go forward ball with their forwards, just trying to push the Majestics back just slowly but surely. Steelers just going with go forward ball, just slowing things down a little bit, making sure that they stay in control here, but the Majestics are contesting very, very well, being patient on defense, not taking any unnecessary risks when it comes to contesting the ruck. Steelers trying to get something going here, but the Majestics are just swarming. And it looks like Majestics are being called for a high tackle. They're going to go and kick for touch, and they do. Looks like it's going to be a line out for the Steelers. Be a line out for the Steelers. Looks like it was overthrown by the Steelers. Majestics scoop it up at pace. Looks like it's a knock on by by the Steelers, so it's going to be Majestic scrum.
Larry, are you doing okay? Hot? Possibly a little dehydrated? Right here, Provo. What time did you get here? 6:30. Behind me. Behind me, Provo.
Majestics put in, looks like they won that scrum there. Going to the short side of the field, finding a little bit of space, cutting it back inside, avoiding the sideline, doing a great job there. And then the Steelers trying to contest, but Majestics have secured that ruck. Going forward with their forwards, moving the ball continually. See if they can spin that ball out a little quicker as well. But it looks like the Steelers were able to poach that ball, and they're going the opposite way. Looks like Majestics have a penalty advantage as well. Looks like there was a knock-on committed by the Steelers, so it's going to be a scrum for the Majestics.
Hey, 11. Provo. Provo. Hey, tell your girls to watch the offsides, okay?
Majestics put in.
Called on it, you know.
Going through the back line, finding a little bit of space. Seeing if she has the speed to get around. It looks like she does. She beats one defender. She beats another. She goes and has one defender to beat. She has some support on the inside, but doesn't see it. And she gets tackled, but her support does find there and does secure that ruck for her. The 10 taking a little pick and go, trying to go and squeak up the sideline, doing something cheeky. Wasn't held down, so she gets back up. The ruck is formed and secured by the Majestics. They're moving forward, being very methodical with what they're doing, being very smart. Steelers trying to tackle, and they finally get her down. The Majestics are quickly moving the ball through the rucks, being very quick on their feet, not giving Steelers the opportunity to really get any defensive shape. Right as I say, the number 10 going inside, trying to find a little bit of space there, and she finds the try zone and she scores! Number 10 for the Majestics.
Minutes, eh, Larry?
Oh, hell no! This 13, sorry.
Number bro, do this. 10. 10.
Yeah! Okay. Okay. Faster, come on, come on! Oh. Come. So we're good?
Hold it. Let her kick. Bring him back.
And the conversion is good for the Majestics. So that brings the score to 14-0 for the Majestics. All right, and Provo to kick off. Nice high kick going just 10 meters, and it was received very, very well, going right at the 10-meter mark. But unfortunately, she was tackled out of bounds, so it's going to be a line out for the Majestics.
You want me to hug this line, coach? You want me to hug the line?
Majestics to throw in with the line out. Great take by the Majestics there. Faking with their forward pack, swinging it out to their backs, seeing a little bit of space out there, being very quick, spinning out the ball. Giving it to their speedster on the wing. Doing a great job fighting to stay in bounds, and she does. And then the Majestics are right back into it, swinging it back out. Finding a little bit of that space, eating up that space that Steelers are giving them. Steelers fighting back in that ruck, trying to counter ruck. Ball getting out to one of their forwards. Oh, trying to get an offload, but while she was being tackled, she did knock it on. Steelers going the other way, finding a little bit of space. Majestics trying to hold her up. Steelers giving to their forwards, slowing everything down a little bit. Just being very methodical. The scrum half trying to organize their forwards, trying to get two. Back to their forward pods. Trying to set up maybe a better platform, because when you're in the middle of the field like this, sometimes it's harder to get some of your backline moves going, because they're going to be split in 2 ways. So maybe they just try to get to one side of the field. They're able to have a little bit more space for the backs to work for their backline moves. And right as I say that, number 13 from the Steelers break through the line, making a few defenders miss with 1 defender to beat. Puts on the stiff arm. Oh, and she dishes it out to one of her support lines who's still running, still staying on her feet. Oh, and gets tackled by the Majestics with a great team tackle there. Steelers slowing things down a bit, trying to get their team back into a better platform attacking position, making sure everyone's in their positions, but at the same time allowing the Majestics to get into their defensive shape as well. Steelers being very slow, making sure to keep possession of the ball, not doing anything too risky, just kind of falling forward, making sure that they get closer to that try zone. But here again, you had the Steelers going forward a little bit. Majestics hold her up for a second, but get it all taken care of. Steelers swing it out to their backs, but they have a little bit of space. Number 25 tries to take it in, but it is stood up by the Majestics defense. Everything is getting very condensed right now. Majestics able to keep all of their team fairly close to one another because, you know, the Steelers' offensive alignment is, pretty condensed. Steelers seeing a little bit of an opportunity here to do a pick and go, and then they places it down and gets a try, maybe. Line judge is calling for a try. Looks like he's also conferring, maybe talking about another penalty that may have occurred. Nope, but it looks like they do confirm that it was a try by the Steelers. So it's a little bit of a great opportunity for Steelers there. They did condense themselves, but in so doing, the Majestics also were condensed on defense, and so the Steelers were able to capitalize on that, swing out one of their speedsters on the wing, and go out to the side, and they committed that one defender to make the tackle and the other defender to commit to the ruck, and in doing so left that short side of the field open and allowed that scrum half, whoever came and picked up the ball, to go onto that short side and score the try.
I didn't see who scored.
Unfortunately, the conversion is no good.
Somebody called the fire department. They got sick.
Does anybody know if United and paid the UC?
Looks like the Majestics to kick. It's a low driving kick, potentially going to go out into the back of the try zone, and it does. So it's going to be a scrum center for the Steelers.
Brighton lost, right? Yeah, Brighton. Oh. Marvin, you're doing really awesome. Really proud of you. Hey. Keep trying your best.
All right, Steelers to put in.
And they're going to call you to the big leagues, the MLR.
Steelers to put in. Looks like these. Unfortunately, the Steelers scrum unfortunately did collapse, so it's going to be a short arm penalty. Majestics learning from their mistakes this time and decide to do a quick tap here. Putting a little bit of a step on the Steelers here. Number 19. Majestics secure their ruck. Majestics giving it to their forward here. Majestics just eating up at all the meters that the Steelers are willing to give them. They find a little bit of a space here on a 2v3, takes a little step outside and goes inside and gets stepped on. And unfortunately loses the ball there when she is taking her steps though. Does a smart move and clears out the ball with a kick. And it looks like Majestics are being called for a knock on. So it's going to be a scrum for the Steelers.
2-on-1 by herself and caused it. And not only did that, but caused it to. Guarantee she's going to make that.
Hey, Mark, you got a copy? He's right here behind the tent. Okay, can you give him a radio?
Melo. Yummy, yummy.
So it's going to be a scrum for the Steelers. Steelers win their scrum. They throw it back to their back line. They have a little bit of space here. Putting on the speed. Breaking a few tackles. Having a few defenders to beat with her support on her right and her left side. One more to go. And she puts on the stiff arm and she gets tackled right at around the 22-meter line. Great strong run by number 25 for the Steelers. They give it back to their forwards right here. Going through and slowing it down with these different pods. Steelers going through the hands, finding a little bit of space here. Committing one of the defenders. Oh, and just runs right through her. Majestics trying to Majestics trying to secure their run, trying to contest this the ruck, excuse me, but Majestics lock it down pretty well. The Majestics immediately contest that ruck when they weren't even looking, when the Steelers weren't even looking. So it gets the ball on the ground, but the Majestics pushing the Steelers back here on defense just solely off of contesting these rucks. Great team tackle here by the Majestics. Getting the Steelers on their off their feet and putting them on the back foot. Majestics constantly just putting on the pressure for the Steelers to quickly get the ball out to set up. The Steelers are taking a little bit longer than they would have liked probably to get their backline set up. Right as I say that, they have a little bit of space, but unfortunately the pass wasn't exactly where it wanted to be. But then the Steelers pick up that ball once again and spin it out wide, and they have a little bit of space, but unfortunately the ref calls for a knock-on. All right, and it looks like it's going to be a Majestics scrum off of the knock-on by the Steelers. With about 2 to 3 minutes left in the half. Steelers with a great scrum here, but the ball squirts out for the Majestics. Take it to one of their backs. Just moving down the line, trying to find any space that they can. Beats one of the defenders, putting on the skates, breaks one of the tackles, breaks another tackle, and she has another defender to be with her, one of her supports on the left-hand side, but just goes right through her once again with her support there to get her ruck. Gives it to one of her teammates as well. They're just moving down the line. Just breaking tackles, keeping her legs moving. The Majestics are just recycling the ball very, very well, looking for that space, having that support there. No support there, but then she goes with the offload instead, gives it to one of her teammates, and unfortunately gets tackled out of bounds. So it's going to be a line out for the Steelers. The Steelers are looking to set up some sort of exit here. We've got their forward pod there to maybe do either a dummy line or to set up a better position and give a little bit more space for the kick here. But we'll see how this goes. So the throw-in, the Steelers win that throw-in. That line out, excuse me. Tries to go for the kick, but it is a lot of pressure, and she gets hit while she kicks, and it actually ends up going backwards. That's going to be offsides on the Majestics. So the Steelers were bailed out there, you know. Unfortunately, the kick did not go where she wanted it to, and it ended up actually going backwards. Steelers choose to go for a line out there, kicks it into touch. It's going to be a line out for the Steelers. Steelers with the line out here. Majestics steal that line out. Go on to the attack, gives it to one of their forwards here. They swing it wide, trying to maybe potentially seeing something, but puts on a step here. Beats a couple of her defenders. There's no support there, so she decides to offload it to one of her support lines that were coming a little bit later. And it looks like the call for a knock-on, and that's going to be the half. So it was great first half of rugby by both of these teams. Fight going back and forth. It's 14-5 for the Majestics. So my name's Coleman Meyer. I'm on with Game On Live Studio, and I will see you at the start of the next half.
Hey V, did you get Tyler was calling you about some title companies?
Oh, yeah,
You
I
got
got
that?
them.
Hey, where'd the two other girls go? Alexis and
I told them to come back in an hour, so they're due in about 10, 15
where'd
minutes.
they go?
I told them just to watch a game.
Oh,
Yeah.
what are they playing?
Nah,
Yeah, they are. Hey, get some water, get some water. Put some on your head. It's hot.
That's the only throw on that side. That line. Only on that side. If we're here, how don't worry about it. Who needs water?
All right, and welcome back to the second half of our women's rugby championship with the Majestics versus the Provo Steelers. The Majestics are up 14-5. The Majestics here to kick to restart the half. All right, Majestic to kick off. It's a great kick by the Majestics. Not taken very well by the Steelers there, and they knocked it on, and then it bounced out of bounds. So we'll see where the ref calls for this. Looks like he's going to call for the knock here first, so it's going to be a scrum to the Majestics. And the Steelers steal that line out. They go with go-forward ball with their forwards, just trying to reset a little bit, make sure they secure that ruck. They're swinging out into their back line. It's a nice little clearing kick there. Relieve some of that pressure for them with a nice little kick chase. Majestics scoop that up very well. Looks like the referee is calling for a penalty here. I think he's going to take it back to the point of the kick. Not sure exactly what the call was. Looks like it was a knock-on, so it's going to be a scrum for the Majestics with great attacking position here. Majestics are going with a split back line here. One of their centers is on the left shorthand side with one of their wings, and they insert one of their fullbacks onto that right-hand side, giving them multiple options off of this scrum. Great push here by the Steelers, but the Majestics are able to secure the ball in that scrum. They come back inside, finding a little bit of a gap here, pushing forward, but her just gets tackled down by the Steelers. The The Majestics quick to recycle the ball, give it to one of their forwards. And they pick it right from the ruck there, finding a little bit of space and passing it out wide, and they got it down for the try. Majestics quickly off of the restart on that second half. It was a great job. Something that's really impressed me so far with the Majestics is how quickly they recycle the ball off of those rucks. You know, the Steelers are quick to swarm over with their defense, making sure to get that tackle, but you know, when they do condense in that way, the Majestics are able to utilize their speed when it comes to those rucks and spin it out wide and find that extra space there. And so, you know, Majestics have been doing a very, very good job with that. And so I'm interested to see how the Steelers choose to adjust their tactics here when it comes to that defensive alignment. You know, maybe not contesting the ruck so much, maybe just deciding to go into that defensive shape so to make sure that nobody's going free on the outside. Looks like she's going for the drop kick here at this angle. Unfortunately, she doesn't have, she had the good angle, maybe not necessarily the distance that time, but no, it looks like we're just going to keep it at that 19 points for the Majestics. Looks like there is a little bit of an injury there for the Steelers that the therapists, or not the therapist, excuse me, the physical therapists are there, you know, checking in on for maybe any head traumas, anything like that. And Steelers to kick after the Majestics try. It's a high short kick, taken well by the Majestics, with a nice, strong, stiff arm there. Majestics once again trying to get that ball out quick, swinging it out wide where there is a little bit more space. Finding a gap, utilizing it a little bit, making a defender miss. Gets tackled by the Steelers. They do have penalty advantage now. They go to the short side of the field, putting on a step on one of the defenders, trying to commit her, and does a nice little offload there, and she's off into the races going down the sideline. She gets tackled and swarmed by the Steelers, but we'll see if they can get that quick recycle of the ball. The ball does come out very quickly. Swinging it back out into their back line, finding a little bit of a gap there, continuing with that penalty advantage. And the ref does call for that penalty advantage. Looks like he's calling for a high tackle, but there's a quick tap by the Majestics, and they're off to the races here. They're finding a little bit of a gap there, and there's got one more defender to beat, and she gets tackled there. Her support's there to ruck over. Ooh, but a good counter ruck there by the Steelers, but the ball does slip out towards the Majestics, so they do pick it up very quickly. Looks like the Steelers are holding up. Oh, it looks like the referee is calling back for the penalty advantage. He's going to have a word maybe with the captain, maybe. I don't know necessarily what the call was there. Potentially, I believe it was a high tackle. But the Majestics, I believe, are going to go for a quick tap here and then give it to one of their forwards. That's exactly what they do, and they move forward. Dishing it out to another one of their forwards here. Looks like there's going to be a scrum for the Steelers. Steelers with the put in. Looks like it's a short arm penalty there. Maybe an early engagement there with the Majestics. So Steelers have a free kick. This is one of those opportunities where you don't want to kick it out to touch because it will be a line out for the other team. And so instead she gives it to one of her forwards and they quick tap it and they go. Very strong running by the Steelers here. Relieving some of their pressure. Looks like they have a little bit of space on the outside. Let's see if they utilize it in that way. We've got a few numbers. It looks like it's about 6-on-4. But unfortunately, the pass was not received well, and so it is going to be a knock-on the Steelers. So it's going to be a scrum for the Majestics.
Are you subbing in?
Yeah.
20?
24.
Go down, report to the AR down here. Right down there, the touch judge. Right there, the yellow. Hurry, go tell her you're a sub.
Majestics with the put in. That split back line once again. Choosing to go to the side where they have a little bit more numbers there. It looks like Majestics are called for an obstruction there, so it's going to be a penalty awarded to the Steelers. Looks like they kick for touch and they find touch there, so it's going to be a line out for the Steelers. Steelers with the throw, received well. Going to give it to one of their forwards, or one of their backs, excuse me. Going through their back line, finding a little bit of a gap there, giving an offload, but unfortunately it was intercepted by the Majestics. Unfortunately, it was a knock-on. So it's going to be a scrum for the Steelers. Steelers with the put in here on with the scrum. Taken off the back from by their 8-man, finding a little bit of space, breaking a few tackles here. Continuing to churn those legs, get those extra meters. Steelers trying to make something happen here with their back line. Just moving forward, running through, continuing to move those feet. Steelers are taking their time, being fairly patient here with the ruck. Ford just running forward here. And is immediately stripped by the Majestics, going the opposite way. But then they lose the ball again. And the Steelers are back in business. Swings it out to the left, to her back line. One of their centers finds a little bit of space. Takes the ball in. Allows them to reset a little bit. Their scrum half organizing her forwards, making sure that they have the support. Continuing to move forward, churning those legs, getting those extra meters, and then having that support immediately cover over is super beneficial for them right now as they're just trying to keep possession, trying to stay in this game, and keep the ball as they continue to drive. And the Steelers going to their forwards again, trying to set something up, trying to suck in the Majestics defense, which, I mean, it seems to be working a little bit as there is a little bit of an overlap. Looks like there's about a 3-on-6 here on the outside, so if they can swing it out, they could get a great opportunity for them to score here. That's exactly what they do, just drawing and passing, making sure that some of their, and unfortunately the pass just came a little bit too late and a little bit too off the mark, and so, you know what, it was going to be a knock-on for the Steelers. So it's going to be a scrum for the Majestics.
Go down to the AR.
Energy, Leaky, energy.
Right there. Hurry up. Go down. Tell her you're a sub.
Majestics with the put in. Great scrum. A long stretching pass, and unfortunately didn't go where it needed to. But it looks like the Steelers were called for pulling down the scrum. Boring in. And so it looks like. Yeah, it looks like Majestics is going to have an opportunity to kick for touch here. When you are in a scrum, you have the responsibility to maintain your weight and to keep that support and that structure firm. If for whatever reason the referee feels that you are pulling down that scrum, he will penalize you for that, and that's exactly what happened here. So he did kick for touch here, and so it looks like it's going to be a line out for the Majestics. The Steelers steal that line out, and they take it down the side. Finding a little bit of space there. And it looks like the Steelers were called for a knock-on, so it's going to be a scrum for the Majestics.
Tell her you're a sub.
Majestics with the put in. Ooh, that scrum collapsed, but right before the ball, or right after the ball came out, a long pass there, finding a little bit of space. Majestics cutting it back in, finding where their support is, but great stand-up defense there by the Steelers, getting up on their feet and actually poaching that ball. Looks like they did steal the ball there. She did go down, but then it looks like the Majestics were called for not releasing. It looks like the Steelers are going to go and try to kick for touch. It does not find touch there. And it goes out back into the end of the try zone. But the question is going to be whether or not she touched the ball before it went out. But I don't think the line judge really even caught that. So they're going to take it over to the point of where the kick was made. And it'll be a scrum for the Majestics.
You
So it's going to be a scrum for the Majestics. So we can do a little bit better with this scrum here. It looks like there was another penalty on the Steelers for that scrum. If they don't figure that out with their scrum, they're going to start hurting from that even more than they already are. But it looks like the Majestics finding a little bit of space, moving up the field here. Strong running here by the Majestics. Always having their support, always securing their rucks. But as I say that, it gets stolen by the Steelers, who then secure their ruck. And perhaps might look for an exit kick here, maybe to relieve some of their pressure. But instead they go and opt for one of their forwards running. Some very strong running from them, trying to just relieve anything that they can. The scrum half putting up a few numbers, so one can only think that maybe she might go for a kick here. Oh, very strong running here by the Steelers, continually just churning her legs, getting those extra meters. What a great little backline move there with a cut underneath. The Steelers have a little bit of space out wide on this back side, so I wonder if they're going to be able to utilize that and see that. They are very patient when it comes to setting up their backline moves. They've got a little bit of space. Maybe if they hurry it up, they can be able to utilize that. Looks like the Majestics were caught offside, so it's going to be a penalty advantage for the Steelers.
Oh, go now.
That's exactly what they do. The Steelers try to kick for touch, but it looks like they don't find touch there. Majestics keep it in bound. They're going to go on a counterattack here. Oh, she gets tackled there, trying to get some support. Recycling the ball out, trying to find a little bit more space. And it looks like the Majestics find that space here. Looking at her support, finding that gap, taking it forward, is tackled by the Steelers. Majestic quick to recover, quick to get that support. Finding a little bit of space out wide on a 2v1. Steps inside, gives a little dummy pass. Looks for her support, finds it. All right, moving through their back line again, slowing things down a little bit. Chooses to go for a little bit of a through kick there, but is quickly defended well by the Steelers. Is scooped up, and the Steelers now have the possession of the ball. Trying to protect their scrum, but no one's there for as a scrum half. And Steelers are there to secure their ruck, but their scrum half is very slow, very late to that scrum, so it puts a little bit more pressure on their support. The Steelers are very strong when it comes to running, very patient with what they're doing right now. Steelers seeing a little bit of space out wide, trying to utilize that, grabbing that space, trying to beat him on the outside, giving a little bit of a stiff arm there, finding a little bit of space, a couple more defenders to beat, another fend, looking for support with an offload, and she finds it. Unfortunately, she knocks that on as she was getting tackled right when she was trying to catch the ball there. It looks like the referee's going to call it back on a knock-on, so it's going to be a scrum for the Majestics.
They just keep messing it up. That's so sad.
All right, so it looks like it's going to be a Majestics scrum here. All right, it looks like the Majestics win that scrum there, and they're moving it quickly down the back line, having a little bit of space, finding the edge, breaking through, looking for her support, gets tackled, and her support is there. It's in the form of a ruck. But then quickly the Steelers steal it and are going the other way. Great tackle there by the Majestics. Steelers just giving to their forwards, their pods, trying to just fight forward, fight for those extra meters. Steelers seeing a little bit of space, giving it to their speedster outside on the wing, finding a little bit of an edge, throws off one of the defenders. The Majestics are there to counter ruck. And Majestics are called for a high tackle.
Okay, go down with the touch, Judge.
And the Steelers go for a kick for touch. So it's going to be a line out for the Steelers with a great attacking opportunity for him here. Be a line out for the Steelers here. Majestics steal that line out. They're very strong running here by the Majestics, continuing to churn her feet. And it looks like the Steelers are called for not releasing the ball carrier. So it's going to be a penalty for the Majestics. Looks like they're just going to try to run out the clock here by doing just a little tap and go. Tap the ball and give it to one of their runners and just let them go. They find a little bit of an edge. Tries to get an offload there, but it doesn't get connected with. The Majestics recover and scoop it up. On the ball, I don't think she was expecting the ball there, and so she did when she was trying to catch the ball, did knock it on. But the ref says play on. Maybe playing advantage here. But it looks like he does stop play. And he's going to confer with the side judge here. It's going to be a scrum for the Steelers. The Steelers win that scrum with penalty advantage here. Strong running by the Steelers here, trying to push through. Offloading it very quickly, finding an opportunity, but unfortunately knocks the ball on. But the referee was playing advantage there, so it looks like they are going to give another penalty kick for the Steelers. The Steelers are going to go kick for touch here, and they do. They find touch, so it's going to be a line out for the Steelers. Steelers with the line out. Almost stolen by the Majestics, but the Steelers were able to secure it. Going through the line, but unfortunately did knock it on and is scooped up very quickly by the Majestics, and the beats the last defender, and she's on a breakaway. Oh, the last defender's trying to catch up to her. See if she can run out. See if she can make it, but is chased down quickly by the defender. Tries to get back up, but the support is there for the Majestics. And then a counter ruck there by the Steelers, but it looks like the referee is calling for a penalty. It looks like there was some extracurricular activity there, so it causes the line to go even farther back. Both of these teams here are There's some technical difficulties there. It looks like the Steelers were on a breakaway there, but then the Majestics were able to quickly recover and tackle her out of bounds.
Yo-yo, stay out!
Hey!
Oh, sorry.
Time is off. Get some water. Get water out. Get water. Water.
Looks like there's another injury on the field here, so you know we're always taking extra precaution when it comes to any type of injury here with rugby, and so we always have athletic trainers on hand to you know, make sure that all these players are taken care of. We always try to in practices. I remember growing up in youth rugby here in Utah, always trying to we were always taught safe protocol when it comes to tackling, but sometimes it is pretty hot out here, and so sometimes you might just need that extra boost from that water, and she might be a little dehydrated, so we're just checking in on her, making sure she's okay. Looks like Majestics to throw in. Looks like the Steelers do steal that line out and are off on a breakaway, trying to find a little bit of a gap there. Passing it off to our other center, looking to see if they can find a little bit of an edge there. Cuts back in, looking for support, finds it, connects with an offload. It gets tackled by the Majestics, but they're quickly there to secure that ruck. Setting up with their forwards, trying to set something up, and then the Majestics quickly tackle her back into the ruck. Steelers trying to make something happen here, looking for a little bit of a gap, finding some space. Trying to catch an edge there, but unfortunately the Majestics are too quick on that. And so it looks like the Steelers were called for not releasing the ball. When you are tackled, you do need to release the ball. And it looks like she did not do that while trying to get back up. So the ball is turned over, and it's going to be a penalty rewarded to the Majestics. Majestics are looking to find touch, and they do, so it's going to be a line out for the Majestics.
2 minutes! 2 minutes!
With about 2 minutes left in the game here, the score is 19-5 for the Majestics. With a line out for the Majestics. And is stolen by the Steelers. The Steelers finding a little bit of space on the edge there, trying to just crust over that edge, but unfortunately weren't able to do that. Majestics tackled very well. Giving it once again to their forward pods, just being very methodical, not taking any risks here, just trying to keep possession of the ball so that they can't stay in this game after they do potentially score another try. Steelers feel like they have an opportunity here on the left-hand side, the short side of the field, finding a little bit of space, juking out one of their defenders with a couple defenders to beat, putting on the steps, and unfortunately was tackled by the fullback. Great job there by the fullback for the Majestics. The Steelers are able to secure their ruck and reset. And strong running here by the Steelers, trying just anything they can to get closer to that try zone to score and potentially bring it a little closer. And it looks like the Majestics were called for a high tackle, so it's going to be a great attacking opportunity here for the Steelers. They do a little quick tap and they go a little move forward, and they're getting right onto that try line. Doing a little pick and go, trying to just drive forward, but it looks like the Majestics are very stout in their defense here. Then a quick little pick and go, and there's a try for the Steelers. It was a great go forward ball by the Steelers. They kept their pace up, and they were able to score that try. Looks like that's the game, ladies and gentlemen. The Majestics win 19-12. Both teams fought very, very hard, but the Majestics came up on top. So congratulations to the Majestics. They are our 2022 state champions. My name is Coleman Meyer. Thank you so much for listening to me today on Game On Live Studios. We'll see you for the next game. Bye-bye.
Where do we get medals? Is there any more Gatorade? Crappy one.